The devices are simple to implement and deploy, simple to use, privacy preserving, and secure against strong attackers. Welcome to Online Privacy Dynasty, where I share with you best practices when it comes to navigating the online world. I am very excited to be talking about the study conducted by the behemoth Google, because I am 100% certain if you take action and implement the suggestions in this video, your online accounts will be much safer and you'll have less worries in your life. When it comes to protecting your online accounts, it's widely recognized that enabling two-factor authorization is highly recommended. The problem is that even if you enable this feature, hackers can still hack your online accounts. So what should you do to protect your online account from intruders? Google did a 2-year research into what is the securest way to protect an online account, be it an email address, a bank account, or your social media account. And at the end of the research had this to say: 0 users that exclusively use security keys fell victim to targeted phishing during our investigations. This is great news for all of us that want to keep our online accounts secure. YubiKeys are considered to be the strongest available two-factor authorization method. They are unbreachable, perhaps with the sole exception of if the user's machine is already fully compromised. However, they are considered to be immune to phishing attacks. Other methods of two-factor authorization also come with a host of their own problems. For example, SMS is vulnerable to SIM jacking, and email is itself protected by a password as well as a possible two-factor authorization method such as SMS. So my email account can also be compromised. None of this affects YubiKeys. Professional pen testers often say that whenever they see someone is protected by YubiKeys, they simply give up. But if they have no two-factor authorization enabled or are protected by some weaker two-factor authorization method, then pen testers say they are often successful in compromising them in this way or another. The value of security keys has been thoroughly examined by one of the most tech-obsessed and industry-dominating tech companies, Google. What they learned was this: security keys are the #1 absolute best form of two-factor authentication. It's better than an on-device prompt, a secondary email address, an SMS code, a phone number, and last sign-in location. In their research, Google highlighted the benefits of security keys in a 2-year deployment study that dates back to 2016, titled Security Keys: Practical Cryptographic Second Factors for the Modern Web. Within the study, they point out the flaws of one-time passwords as a form of two-factor authentication and use the YubiKey security key by Yubikey as a remedy. What they discovered within those 2 years was compelling, and because of it, they managed to eliminate phishing attacks against all Google employees completely, a 100% success rate. They found that while one-time passwords had an average failure rate of 3%, that U2F, also known as Universal Second Factor, the technology that security keys utilize, had a 0% failure rate. In fact, if you review the literature, you'll see that security keys are the only form of two-factor authorization that are fully resistant to phishing. In the study, Google begins by saying, security keys are second-factor devices that protect users against phishing and man-in-the-middle attacks. Users carry a single device and can self-register it with any online service that supports the protocol. The devices are simple to implement and deploy, simple to use, privacy preserving, and secure against strong attackers. We have shipped support for security keys in the Chrome web browser and in Google's online services. We show that security keys lead to both an increased level of security and user satisfaction by analyzing a 2-year deployment which began within Google and has extended to our consumer-facing web applications. In section 2, Google continues, in this work we present security keys, second-factor devices that improve the state-of-the-art for practical authentication for real consumers in terms of privacy, security, and usability. This is evidenced by the fact that security keys have been publicly deployed by Google, Dropbox, and GitHub. Security keys were designed from the ground up to be practical, simple to implement and deploy, straightforward to use, privacy-preserving, and secure against strong attackers. We have shipped support for security keys in the Chrome browser, have deployed it within Google's internal sign-in system, and have enabled security keys as an available second factor in Google's web services. In this work, we demonstrate that security keys lead to both an increased level of security and user satisfaction as well as cheaper support costs. The security key design has been standardized within an industry alliance, the FIDO Alliance, as a universal second factor protocol. Google, Google, Dropbox, and GitHub are gigantic companies who are on the cutting edge of technology. They search the entire planet for ways that they can improve their services. Google is well known for having excellent security protocol. So if these companies have made a standard for their employees to use a security key to prevent disasters, I think you should hear them out. Now let's get into the cons and vulnerabilities of widely used two-factor authorizations. Telephone calls, mobile prompts, and text messages are forms of two-step authentication. They are widely used but are now considered less secure compared to newer methods like security keys. Here are some reasons why telephone calls, mobile prompts, and text messages are inferior options compared to yubikeys. One-time passwords as a second factor are still vulnerable to relatively common attacks, such as phishing. In addition, one-time passwords have a number of usability drawbacks. These factors limit the success and deployment of one-time passwords as a reliable and secure second factor. Phishing and SIM swapping are issues that plague the online world. SMS-based authentication is vulnerable to phishing attacks, where attackers trick users into providing their login credentials. Hackers can also perform SIM swapping by impersonating the user and convincing the mobile service provider to transfer the phone number to a device they control. This allows them to intercept the authentication messages, compromising security. How about SMS interception? SMS messages can be intercepted or redirected through various techniques, including SS7, also known as Signaling System 7 vulnerabilities. Hackers can then exploit these weaknesses to gain unauthorized access to the user's SMS messages by bypassing the intended security measures. Don't forget about device vulnerability. Mobile devices can also be susceptible to malware or other security vulnerabilities and threats. If a device is compromised, hackers may be able to gain access to both the user's login credentials and the authentication messages, defeating the purpose of two-step authentication. There's also a lack of offline functionality. SMS-based authentication relies on an active network connection to receive text messages. Consequently, in situations where there is no cellular coverage like a dead zone, users may be unable to receive authentication codes. This is a common problem. Users will not have coverage 24/7. This hinders their ability to log into their accounts, which can be a major issue if you need to log into an account in an emergency. Limited scalability and convenience. SMS-based authentication requires users to have a valid phone number and may not be suitable for individuals who do not have access to a mobile device or prefer not to share their phone numbers with service providers. Additionally, the process of waiting for and entering a code from an SMS message can be time-consuming and less convenient compared to other methods that will verify your identity. Due to these security concerns, industry experts and organizations are starting to recommend more secure alternatives more and more. These better alternatives include hardware security keys, authenticator apps, or biometric-based authentication methods. These newer methods offer stronger protection against phishing attacks, interception, and device vulnerabilities, making them more robust and reliable for two-step authentication. So why are physical security keys the best form of two-factor authorization, and how do they work? Security keys like yubikey offer several advantages over other two-factor authorization methods, which contribute to their enhanced security. Phishing resistance. Security keys are immune to phishing attacks, where other attackers trick users into entering their credentials on a fake website. Security keys use a cryptographic protocol called FIDO2 and WebAuthn, which verifies the authenticity of the website, ensuring that login credentials are only shared with legitimate sources. This protection significantly reduces the risk of falling victim to phishing attempts. Hardware-based security. Unlike other two-factor authorization methods such as SMS-based codes or authentication apps, security keys are physical devices. They store cryptographic keys securely within the hardware, making them less susceptible to malware, viruses, or other software-based attacks. The private keys never leave the device, adding an extra layer of protection. Additionally, yubikey comes attached to a USB that can't be identified. It will be impossible to know which machine or device it goes with. although the keys attached to it could be a giveaway if your colleagues are familiar with yours. Strong cryptographic algorithms. Security keys utilize strong encryption algorithms and protocols to generate and store cryptographic keys. These algorithms, such as ECC, aka elliptic curve cryptography, and RSA, aka Revis Shamir Alderman, provide robust security for authentication and data encryption. Offline functionality. Security keys function offline, meaning they do not rely on an internet connection to generate authentication codes. This attribute makes them resistant to attacks that target online communication channels, such as man-in-the-middle attacks or interception of authentication codes. Easy to use and universal support. Security keys like yubikey typically follow open standards such as FIDO2 and universal second factor, making them compatible with a wider range of devices, platforms, and services. They can also be used with computers, smartphones, and online services that support these standards, offering a seamless and user-friendly experience. It's important to note that while security keys provide a significant security advantage, no authentication method is entirely foolproof. However, by combining a security key with other security measures, such as strong passwords and regular software updates, users can significantly enhance their overall security posture. After hearing this podcast, I hope you understand that technology advances. As technology advances, attackers get more advanced. They find vulnerabilities that were not there before because they didn't have the necessary technology to make the attack happen. The way hackers use technology to hack everyday people have to use technology to protect themselves and avoid financial hardships by implementing more advanced technology. SMS-based authentication served its purpose. It was a good step towards security, but now it's an old security method. Hackers have found loopholes around it. You can't keep using it and expect not to get hacked anymore. Attackers have become quite capable to bypass these defensive measures with a bit of trickery. So we as citizens have to adapt with the times. So you can better understand my thinking. Think of how in the medieval times the people who defended their land from intruders used swords and arrows. But as soon as gunpowder was invented and everybody started using firepower, the defenders of nations had to evolve and learn how to use firepower also if they were to keep upholding their sovereignty. In warfare, armies use guns, grenades, bombs, airplanes. You have to use these technologically advanced instruments of war to protect the nation. You won't see anybody shooting an arrow at an airplane because that weaponry is obsolete now. The times have changed, the hackers have advanced, and if you want to be safe and secure in the online world, you must use technology as well. So this wraps up for today's podcast. I hope you've understood and take action right away. I added the very same yubikey I use in the description so you can buy it directly from Amazon to help support my channel. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more helpful content. Until next time.